Let's see, we are on chapter 6, page 67. It says, seeing the interdependence of phenomena. The quote is, realizing the doctrine of independent arising. The wise do not at all partake of extreme views. Because phenomena seem, even to our senses, to exist from their own side, even though they do not, we mistakenly accept the view that phenomena exist more substantially than they actually do. In this way, we are drawn into afflictive emotions, creating the seeds to our own ruin. We need to undo these problems by reflecting again and again on the dependent nature of everything. The impact of dependence arising. All phenomena, helpful and harmful, cause and effect, this and that, arise and are established in reliance upon other factors. As Nagarjuna says in his precious garland of advice, when this is, that arises. Like short, when there is short, due to the production, like short when there is long, due to the production of this, that is produced, like light from the production of a flame. In this context of dependence, help and harm arise. Impermanent phenomena can function and are not just figments. And are not just figments of imagination. I made a mistake, you guys. Give me just a second here. Dismiss. 44, 5, 120, 29. All right, I forgot to set off an alarm and I had to do math problems to get out of it. It's the only way I'll get up. Okay, where was I? Where were we? In the contents of dependence, help and harm arise. Impermanence phenomena can function and are not just figments of the imagination. And karma, actions and their effects, is feasible. You are feasible and I am feasible. We are not just mental creations. By understanding this, you are free from what Buddhists call the extreme of nihilism, drawing the mistaken conclusion that just because a phenomenon cannot be found to exist independently, it does not all exist. As Nagarjuna says, having thus seen that effects arise from causes on asserts what appears in the conventions of the world and does not accept nihilism. These two extremes, the exaggerated notion that phenomena exist under their own power and the denial of cause and effect, are like chasms into which our minds can fall, creating damaging perspectives that either exaggerate the status of objects beyond their actual nature or deny the very existence of cause and effect. Falling into the chasm of exaggeration, we are drawn into satisfying a conception of ourselves that exceeds how we actually are, an impossible feat. Or falling into the chasm of denial, we lose sight of the value of morality and are drawn into ugly actions and undermine our own future. To be able to balance dependent arising and emptiness, we need to differentiate between inherent existence and mere existence. It is also crucial to recognize the difference between the absence of inherent existence and utter non-existence. This is why when the great Buddhist sages in India taught the doctrine of emptiness, they did not use the argument that phenomena are empty of the capacity to perform functions. Rather, they said that phenomena are empty of inherent existence because they are dependent arisings. When emptiness is understood this way, both extremes are avoided. The exaggerated notion that phenomena exist from their own side is avoided through realizing emptiness, and the denial of the existence of functionality is avoided through understanding that phenomena are dependent arisings and therefore not utterly non-existent. As Chandrakirti says, this reasoning of dependent arising cuts through all the nets of bad views. Dependent arising is the route for steering clear of the two chasms of mistaken outlooks and their attendant pains. Inexplicability of the truth is the title. Okay. Once there was a fledgling scholar in a monastic college in Lhasa who was having a hard time debating. Being unable to give a good response to a challenge. So he announced, to the amusement of all, that he knew all the answers, but he was having trouble expressing them in words. Smart men. Maybe we, not knowing emptiness, could just repeat the statement in our Buddhist scriptures that the perfection of wisdom is inconceivable and inexpressible, and try to look profound. However, the statement means that the realization of emptiness as it is directly experienced in non-dualistic meditation cannot be expressed in words. It does not mean that emptiness cannot be reflected and meditated upon. When we say, hear, or think about terms such as emptiness and ultimate truth, they appear to us in separate subject and object. The consciousness on one side and emptiness on the other side. Whereas in profound meditation, subject and object have one taste. Emptiness and consciousness perceiving it are like water put in water, undifferentiable. Similarity with illusion. We're almost there. Using the tool of analysis, you cannot find a being that transmigrates from one lifetime to another. But this does not mean that the rebirth does not in any way exist. Despite the fact that agent, action, and object cannot withstand analysis to stand independently, healthy and unhealthy actions leave their imprints in the mind, and these come to fruition either in this lifetime or in a future one. If we investigate a person with this reasoning who appears in a dream and an actual person seen where we are awake, no self-instituting entirety can be found for either of them. They are equally unfindable under such analysis, but this does not mean that there are no actual people or that a dream person is an actual person. This would contradict valid perceptions. The fact that people and other objects are not findable under analysis means not that they do not exist, but that they do not exist by way of their own power. They exist due to other factors. In this way, being empty of being under its own power comes to a mean depending on others. Meditative reflection. Consider, number 1, inherent existence never did, never does, and never will exist. Number 2, however we imagine that it does not however we imagine that it does exist and thereby are drawn into distressing emotions. Number 3, the belief that phenomena inherently exist is an extreme of exaggeration, a frightful chasm. Number 4, the belief that impermanent phenomena cannot perform functions or act as cause and effect is an extreme form of denial, another frightful chasm. Number 5, the realization that all phenomena are empty of inherent existence because of being dependent arisings avoids both extremes. Realizing that phenomena are dependent arisings avoids the extreme of dangerous denial. Realizing that they are empty of inherent existence avoids the extreme of dangerous exaggeration. Go ahead and meditate on those. Maybe hit the pause button. So we're reading How to See Yourself as You Really Are by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Avec, Ms. Ruba. I am the one reading it. And you can find the rest of this on my YouTube channel, Ms. Ruba. If you're watching from YouTube, you can follow me on Instagram at Ms. Ruba. And I also have my original Facebook page. It's just Ruba Yogi. While this is about health and wealth and everything that it takes to be a healthy person, and this just from within comes like great actions and, you know, showing up to work more present and maybe setting goals that help you show up to be on the clock a little bit more excited. Automatic wealth comes from within. Things like perseverance and patience and actual financial wealth. In reading this, it's just going to be kind of like a growthful, I would say, self-help book, just to see life a little bit more differently in perspective. So yeah, just thank you so much for tuning in. Drinking a little cafecito today. I did one little thing of beans versus I normally do 2. I was up for like, I haven't done the math of how many hours, but definitely over 24 hours. And then I slept for about an hour and a half, and I went to work for my first day back. We were training with a new system at Restoration Hardware in Yountville. If you ever want to come visit, I'm there on weekends. And I went to bed by 9:30. I was exhausted, and then I woke up this morning by 6:30 a.m. So look at that. It was more like 6:15, but we'll call it 6:30. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.